To see you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh, I have.
Good.
You already have one?
Subtle, yeah. Subtle, yeah, I'm good.
Shit. For the-
Unless it's just coming out. Yeah, that's minus.
Which one? You need a chair? Next person. There, you want that one? Wait, first.
You got a busted chair?
He has a broken chair.
It's just. I can try this.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it's true. You want it? I just wanted to. No problem.
His chair.
It's like laying down to the ground.
This one will be okay.
Oh,
I think there's all those.
It is.
Yeah, so I was on the way back, all the way forward. And I just had to like.
First
Yeah,
page.
and then I just lost, and I lost. All right, we better start. All right, are we ready to go? Ready to see?
Great.
Okay. All right, welcome to our city council work meeting. We got all the chairs, earrings. You've got very tall all of a sudden.
You have to lift up my chair to feel a bit taller.
I think I might try that.
We all raise them up?
You're a scholarship now.
We're gonna start out with item number one. Brenda's got an introduction to make.
Yes, so, Mayor and Council, I want to introduce to you Makenna Thompson. Makenna is our new, office administrator that will help you and I with our calendars and coordination and calls and mail, et cetera. With the, retirement of a 33-year veteran in our HR division, that created an opening that, resulted in the, promotion of Tess Jones into that position. And so she, of course, sets a high standard of positivity and energy that will be used for our employee benefits and our BABO training. So since HR stole Tess from us, I stole Makenna from our 311 help desk.
It's a vicious
Brandon.
thing.
I had started being this kind.
Sorry.
But McKenna came to us very highly recommended, and we heard in advance a lot of positive interactions that employees and the public had with her. And so that she can kind of continue on that energetic and positive trend that Tess began. McKenna, is there anything else you want to say to introduce yourself?
Well, I've lived in Orem my whole life. I love it here. I love the cities, so I'm really grateful to be here. Really grateful for the opportunity to meet with all of you and work with all of you and hopefully learn a lot from you as well.
In addition to that, we also, well, of course, you know Teresa McKittrick as our city recorder, and she will also take on some of the duties of executive assistant so that we can have her mentoring and organizational skills kind of up to there. And so between the two of them, they will be able to herd us cats, which my wife is really excited.
Good luck with that.
So, yeah, I'm super appreciative of their help and their skills and please feel free to use them now that you know them.
Welcome, McKenna. We're excited to have you, and I've heard good things about you from sources outside the city. Thank you. Looking forward to it. We'll move to item number 2, and I'll have Carrie and Carson introduce this next part.
Yeah.
So I'll start first and then
Absolutely.
we'll go to you. So this is the second installment of the MGT study. As you recall, we started this about 6 months ago. We'll be going over 3 sections today, but as a reminder, like we won't, well, on this one, we've got a portion of development services today, but we're only focusing on facilities maintenance. So that's the building maintenance and custodial when it gets to the development services side. So some of our departments were divided into multiple sections. So this is a piece of services.
Yeah, and as another reminder, especially for any residents who are tuning in today, this is part of an effort for the city who seeks to implement best practices in the industry and also pioneer with innovative solutions to improve public services. We commissioned MGT to do a deep dive across the city to look at what we're currently doing and validate whether those are efficient and most effective, as well as generate recommendations to improve our services to our residents. So we have with us Bruce Cohens and Ricardo Siepin with MGT, as you can see on the screen. They'll be presenting on management services, legal services, and facility maintenance, like Carrie has just mentioned. Ricardo and Bruce, will turn it over to you if you'd share your screen. And you're muted. Bruce.
Hang on.
It did show up for just a minute.
Well, that's a victory. Are you able to see the slide deck now?
No.
Well, pardon me while we sort that out. And while we do that, I will begin with my remarks. In case you missed the last meeting, what the city has told us it wants to do is to be the best managed city, to provide top quality services and to do so efficiently. The city selected departments and divisions for review and gave us a charter of specific questions in each department. The charter was not look at everything in all the departments, it was look at specific issues in the departments or divisions selected. I think that was wise, because if you spread yourself across everything, you don't get enough focus on specific issues. So let me share I had some discussion with Carson about sharing the screen. He said, no, you will run the screen. And now he's probably regretting that he ever agreed to that.
Bruce, I'm
So
gonna go ahead and share my screen.
how are we doing now?
There we
There it
go.
is.
Hooray. Okay. What does it mean to be efficient? Well, there can be more than one definition. And obviously, getting that definition right is important for this study. Spending more to get more may be a good move sometimes, but that would not be efficient. We all know if we spend more money, we can buy more things. What we mean in this study is one of the things on the slide here, either more bang for the buck or same cost, but faster or more reliable. It could mean spending a little more, but getting a lot more. And we'll talk about that in a minute. You've authorized one change that we endorse. We'll discuss that in this presentation. And you may also find efficiency could be dropping some level of service to save a lot of money without having much impact on what residents receive. The city asked us.
Bruce, your slides are,
Not fancy.
yeah, they're not advancing. I don't know if when you hit present, it opened a new window or not.
Well, you know, Carson, I hate to glitch this. Would it be better for you to share the deck?
I can.
I apologize for that, but I've got a respect for everybody's time. I think maybe that would be the best thing to do.
I have it up. I can share it as well if you need me to, Bruce.
Well, that's up to Carson. Do you want to start sharing the deck, or would you
Yeah,
like to?
I'm on it.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. We've got it up.
All right. So the city asked us to review a majority of the departments and divisions, and within each one gave us a list of specific questions to answer. We did research of documents, we spoke to your staff, we researched local peer cities and spoke with them, and we relied on our experience in doing similar studies nationally. In the previous meeting on January 23rd, we reviewed police and the procurement efforts in finance. Today, there are 3 units being discussed: management services, legal services, and facilities maintenance. We'll get to the rest in future meetings. I'm going to turn this over to Ricardo to discuss management services.
Hi, everyone. For management services, the city asked us to answer 2 questions. The first question was, analyze the structure for human resources division and for the communications division. The second question was to comment on the recently approved created division of strategy and innovation. Okay. Over to the next slide, if you can, Carson. Slide here presents a summary of our findings and our conclusions as relates to each of those questions. The first, like I said, the first question was to look at the structure and the staffing of the HR division and the communications division. What we found is that whenever possible, the HR division should hire an HR specialist at about $85,000 a year will be the total cost. And the communication division should hire a deputy public information officer at about $95,000 a year. Why did we make those recommendations? We believe that hiring an HR specialist will solve the workload to capacity issue within the department. What we found based on our study is that the human resources manager workload exceeds her capacity by about 1,500 hours a year. Okay, forcing other staff members from other departments to help the HR division and keeping them away from some other duties. Okay, as it relates to the communication division, we found that bringing in a deputy public information officer will help whenever the director of communications is not available, as he is the only full-time employee currently in the department. All right. Now the second question was to answer whether there should be a division of strategy. What we found out is that the answer should be yes. While the study refrained from recommending new spending, this is an investment in innovation and efficiency. Additionally, the fiscal impact of this recommendation is minimum, as the department can reorganize existing staff to establish a new division we don't believe there's a need to hire anyone to establish this new division. Okay, Carson, next slide when you get a chance, please.
Yeah, and yeah, before we move on, I just wanted to hit on these two items. Just to show how eager the city is to act on this study. We're eager to start implementing these changes already. So we've seen some of these come in. And we've actually increased the staffing in HR with savings to the city. I don't know if Carrie, you'd like to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so with the retirement of Shirley Paz after 35 years at the city, we were able to take her earnings and divide it into 2 positions without an increased cost to the city. So it's a net neutral change, but bringing in a whole nother personnel into the division. So that was a big win for us. And then as far as the communications deputy PIO, we'll be bringing in a full-time person, but those savings will be from the deputy city manager position that's been reserved. We'll use part of the funding from that to fund this from an intern to a full-time position. Again, at no additional cost to the city.
Yeah, and it is pretty impressive as far as, I mean, you were exceeding capacity by 1,500 hours. So, I mean, that shows it peaked, and his counterpart on the HR side will bring in a ton of extra effort and work.
Yeah, and they're very grateful. I don't want to speak for Pete or for Amy, but they're very grateful for you guys doing this study because now they can catch their breath once we make all these changes. They're pretty excited.
Good sleeping.
Pete can go on vacation finally.
Yeah, and it doesn't only impact those divisions per se, but the city as a whole has seen the benefit of these changes with enhanced services through human resources and the ability of communications to create more content for departments across the city. So everyone has seen a huge benefit from this study and from these changes that have been made.
We have seen a very visible major improvement in our PR efforts and communication efforts inside the city and outside the city. So Pete's done a great job with that.
Thank you.
And I wanted to mention too, this new division of innovation and strategy has already been implemented, but that was at very minimal cost to the city. We used some savings from Kenna Matthews' position to fund the new division manager, and that's Jenica Jones. So she's already working here. She was just promoted to a division manager position at, again, no additional cost to the city.
All right, great, thank you. All right, Carson, are you in the management services next steps slide? I can't see the slide.
Yeah, but
That's fine, but we already
Yeah.
discussed that. That's what I wanted to talk about. All right. So we had next step, but Karen and Carson pretty much discussed what our next step were, and they have already been implemented. Any questions regarding the management services presentation? All right, okay, very good. Seeing that, we'll move on to the next slide.
The only other point of emphasis I'll make is just that strategy and innovation division really kind of takes the intent of what we've been doing with this NGT study, with this efficiency study, and kind of incorporates it as part of our culture here at the city, to be in a constant mode of looking at things and improving and finding better ways to do things and vetting out ideas. So, that's why I think about a month ago, we had Jenica come in and kind of show some of the things that they have been working on and have been working on.
Perfect. All right, we'll move over to the legal services department questions. As it relates to legal services, the city asked us to answer 3 questions. 1, if there were opportunity to delegate work that is currently being performed by the attorneys to non-attorney staff, such as paralegals, law clerks, kind of to leverage the time of the attorneys. The second question is the prosecution caseload for staff reasonable? And the third question is whether the civil attorney caseload for staff is reasonable. Again, the next slide is gonna give you a summary of what we found. As it relates to the delegation of work to non-attorney staff, we recommend the hiring of 2 part-time law clerks at a total cost of about $56,000. to expand the capacity of attorneys at a lower cost than adding another attorney. This recommendation was made because the current non-attorney staff lacks the training to provide efficient leverage of attorney time. The law clerks can meet this efficiently. Okay. The second question regarding the prosecution caseload and whether it's reasonable, based on peer comparisons, it shows that a reference for prosecutor is significantly higher in Orem at 48,000, almost 49,000 to 1, compared to the peer average at 28,000 to 1. This suggests that a need for more staff. However, we are deferring that this decision is pending development of a caseload data. As it relates to civil attorney caseload and whether it's reasonable, MDTE recommends deferring any decision on staffing changes pending the development of caseload data, which the department intends to do so. The department is currently looking at software system that will enable it to track caseload data more efficiently. All right. Next.
Can you go back to that?
Yes.
So that, I mean, okay, so the residence per prosecutor is significantly higher, but that translates into we have significantly less cases, doesn't it? Or doesn't it?
No,
What was that
well,
telling
not
us?
necessarily. And I don't know if that comparison, maybe the MGT can explain whether that comparison is nationwide or statewide.
That comparison was based on the peer cities that were provided by the city. We looked at, I think it was 5 or 6 cities that were provided by Orem as peer cities, and those were the cities that we compared to Orem.
Yeah. The peer cities are Provo, Sandy, West Valley, West Jordan, Lehigh. Ogden was not included, no. Yeah.
But that's telling us we have 28,000. The other cities have 28,000 residents per prosecutor. We have 49,000. So we have almost half the number of prosecutors, right?
Yeah.
But what does that mean? Does that mean we have less crime and less cases or not?
I don't think so. I think it just means our prosecutors are shouldering a heavier caseload than prosecutors in other cities.
So it's not a COVID catch-up thing then?
No. I mean, if you were comparing these numbers with cities outside of Utah, I would say that there might be an argument there with the fact that peer cities or other Utah cities. I think the numbers are gonna be, the caseloads are gonna be, or the cases per resident are gonna be pretty much similar.
I guess that's what they're referring to, right? But that top line data is kind of interesting.
I mean, our prosecutors would tell you, and they have been telling us for several years that they need help.
And how do you feel about the law clerk angle?
I think that they can help if we can actually find law clerks who are willing to come here. I think that like any other position, it's hard to find good law clerks to come here because they have other opportunities too, and so we're competing out in the marketplace. Or, you know, usually these are typically second or third year law students, and some of them may not want to work during the school year. You know, lots of law students don't want to work during the year, so in school. So I think it's something we're willing to try and see if it works, but I think it will just be dependent on whether we can actually hire the law clerks. So, and that's unknown at this point.
And if the presenter could clarify, because I think you said 56,000 would that cost? The slide says 92,000, unless I'm.
I think that's for two.
2 part-time law clerks,
Or 92?
92 total. Yeah.
92 total.
Yeah.
That is 92 total?
Yeah, so 56,000 each, and you hire 2.
No, we have 56,000 total.
Oh,
Because they're part-time law clerks.
oh, you have 92,000 on that first part of the slide.
The slide is,
Okay, so it's 56,000 total. Which
Yes.
makes sense for that part-time.
the paper has a P.
Okay, all right. Thank you for clarifying.
All right, perfect. And the next slide, Carson, please. Well, the next slide is talks about next steps, which is deciding whether to hire 2 part-time law clerks to provide leverage for attorney time. Is that way is feasible, and whether the city wants to attempt that recommendation. The other step would be to confirm whether the department's plan to acquire case management software should move forward. If so, that system should create the data which we to make the staffing decisions for the prosecution division, which seems to need staff, and the civil division, which may not need more staff. Any questions regarding the legal services department? Additional questions?
I just wanted to make it clear that in the legal department, they are already starting to implement this software so that they can track their caseloads. Because I think that will give us a better example on whether or not we need to bring more to it.
Yeah. We've actually signed a contract with a software provider and we're just waiting to get it implemented, so.
What's the timeline on that?
That's a good question. It was supposed to be right away, but we just kind of.
They're so understaffed, they can't do the agreement.
That'll be everyone else's agreement.
The agreement is done, it's on their side right now, we're just waiting for them to find the staff to get it implemented, so.
And once they get implemented, how long do you think they'll be before they have a reason like the other slow?
I don't know, maybe several months, guessing. It's hard to know without ever having used it and knowing what it can really do. So.
I think you'd want a whole cycle year so that you can see the ebbs and flows.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we might get some idea after a few months, but yeah. So we'll see.
Very good. Bruce, are you ready to move on?
I am. We mentioned earlier that Development Services would have a separate presentation. That will not be today. Today we will discuss the Facilities Maintenance Division. That division does two things. It cleans city properties and it repairs and maintains them. And those are really separate work streams. So the questions that we were asked are, number one, do you have the right number of people? Number two, are the hours or shifts there assigned appropriate? And number three, do you have the tools to allow management to track trends and productivity and have insights into how staff are used to solve problems? Let's go to the division findings, please. In terms of staffing levels, we did not note any problems. We did say that some of the data that we would need are not logged currently, and we're making a recommendation to create new activity codes and have staff record a more comprehensive summary of what they do. That will allow management to determine, are there emerging trends? Are we getting appropriate work out of each person? Are there areas of city property that might need more attention? In terms of shift schedules, the challenge is that the breadth of what the city does means that city facilities are open in some cases for long hours, multiple shifts, and for cleaning and for repair and maintenance, that's a factor when best to do the time. We believe that the current shift schedules work very nicely. They are consistent with what we found in your local peer cities, and we would recommend keeping the current shift schedules. For software support, obviously there's so many moving parts that they have to track that there has to be software to identify how long work orders have been open, how long it has been since particular repair or maintenance tasks were done, et cetera. We looked at a couple of options, and the one that we are recommending is to extend your current license that Public Works has for Elements XS software and configure it for use as well by facilities maintenance. That costs an estimated $10,000, which is roughly the same cost as buying another competitor package. But the advantage here is that if you buy the competitor package, your tech support needs apply to two platforms. We'd rather see a consolidation of what you use in one kind of platform. We think that'll be a little more efficient. We would like to have it configured so that you can track more efforts and not just the work orders. The work orders are being serviced on a 24-hour service standard. That's a good standard that is consistent with peer cities. The only issue that we found was the Family Fitness Center hoping that it could get work orders processed faster. When a piece of gym equipment goes down, they don't really want to wait 24 hours to have it fixed. We address this in the recreation chapter that we will present at a future meeting. I don't mean to duck that question right now, but I think when you see the recreation discussion, you'll see it makes more sense to talk about how to take care of what the Family Fitness Center would like. So for next steps, you should decide what activity codes you need. The goal being, you'd like to not only track productivity, you'd like to have trend data. Did we do more this year than last year? Are we trending the right way? Are there particular types of problems that are arising more frequently that tell us maybe instead of fixing it, that thing should be replaced? And I think that the software package can do that nicely. It has to be paired by creating the activity codes in discussion with management. As far as the choice of software, you are already licensing Elements XS, and you can have it for use by facilities maintenance without an additional license fee. You would need to spend some money to configure it so that it does what facilities maintenance needs. But we think that is the efficient solution. That takes us through our prepared remarks. So I will stop now and take any questions, or if you just simply need time to discuss this, then please, the floor is yours.
Well, I just want to summarize this last point with the software management. That I just want to commend Byron's team. They've been very proactive about implementing innovative solutions. They initiated this software build out today, actually. And I've helped him a little bit with the agreement and everything with Elements XS. And it's going to allow them to be a lot more proactive and increase efficiency. It'll allow them to track every single asset in every building, whether that's a spigot, a fan, and so on. So rather than having reactive, putting out fires across the city in the buildings, they're going to be able to see this maintenance schedule. It'll tell them when they need to go replace an asset before it gives out. And so I think their vision is going to definitely benefit everyone across the city. All employees are impacted by facilities. All of our residents are impacted by our facilities. So it's going to be a great benefit and just a one-time cost of $10,000.
That's a monumental task. So kudos to whoever pulled that together. I'm dumbfounded. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
To be able to nail down every asset and maintenance and replacement and that whole.
Yeah.
So
it's a big task, but it's Byron's team, and they are gung ho about implementing it and getting it going in the right direction.
It's taken a long time. I mean, to me, Byron is he's detail oriented, he's energetic, his attitude is proactive. Now we're gonna give him the tools, the software to be able to accurately plan for and schedule out preventative maintenance in addition to the corrective maintenance of all the buildings. This aligns with Byron's just natural skill set and just fun attitude. Awesome.
Are there any studies done, I'm sure there have been, that shows cost savings because of the preventative maintenance that's able to be done versus replacement of machine at the rec center?
Yes, if you're tracking your maintenance and you're doing everything on a scheduled time period and you know the lifespan, you're documenting everything, they'll definitely save money. We've been after this for a number of years and we almost pulled the trigger last year on a different software package, but we're glad we didn't, because this one is Thanks, Chris, for paying for it. Ongoing, so it'll work.
We're the soul.
So we're pretty excited. Now's the hard part. We're gonna hire an intern as part of our part-time group, our custodial group, to someone in a facilities management program at school that can come in and help us start to populate the data. And getting a new building, you can put the new building in the system and not worry about this building in that system. So we won't waste our time on this.
Don't put this building in the system.
We don't do that. And we all know how this works with our cars, right? You keep your car maintained, and I like driving a well-maintained car, and my husband likes that too, so I don't complain to him, so this will be awesome.
This is something that we've been doing and trying to do in public works, and it makes sense to do it across the board from the smallest group of assets for vehicles or whatever. We have a corrective maintenance, preventative maintenance program there as well. But GIS is tied to all of these assets. How many hundreds or thousands of valves and fire hydrants do we have? Well, Byron's got to think about, all of the different boilers, all the different air filters, when they need to be replaced, and the timing and scheduling, all of the maintenance that has to occur. It's pretty complicated unless you have some kind of a master document. Takes time and effort to set it up, but it pays dividends in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, any other questions on any of these reports for MGT? All right. Bruce, thank you. Oh. It's gone. Yes.
They still there? Thompson, who's the other gentleman?
Ricardo.
Bruce, Ricardo, you guys still with us?
What comes out of the cloud goes back into the cloud.
Well, I guess we can.
Okay, well, we appreciate that presentation. And we're making lots of good progress on this MVP study. Appreciate it, Carrie and Carson. All right, we're going to item number 3. We'll have an AMI update with Chris Shirky.
So, several years ago, with our 2016 master plan, as part of our master plan, identified the need to be able to monitor and measure water on a more effective basis. For years, we've been doing it through a flexible or variable labor force, part-time labor force. They come and go as there's a higher demand in the system during the summertime. And it's been effective to some degree over the years. But we've known all along that wouldn't it be nice if we could have all the data at fingertips? Well, that's where we are today. So thanks to the vision of many that have been involved, including councils of years past, and Tom McDonald's one of our first representatives on our Public Works Advisory Commission meeting that this was a part of that recommendation. So we appreciate your support on that. Reed and his staff are going to report on progress and where we are. We'll give you an update of where we are today. Ironically, Reed's going to talk a little bit about how even prior to hiring a staff to go out and measure the water consumption on a monthly basis, we did it twice a year. Once in the spring and once in the fall. So just 2 times a year. So you can imagine kind of the discussions that maybe exec staff and council had back 20, 25 years ago, like, this is very simple and it's straightforward, but maybe this isn't the best way to be measuring this valuable resource. So we're in a much better position today. Our staff has replaced how many meters, Quinn?
We've jumped into the punchline.
22,000. I thought you had an exact number, but that's good.
I probably do.
What is it?
Make up one, we won't.
No,
do
no.
that.
2,300 communicate.
22,300 communicating right now. So
All of the meters that have this technology are in place, are about 90%. So
Great.
Very good, Tom. I'm gonna call on
You
you.
finally logged on, Tom?
yeah, I couldn't remember if my password was 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, 6, 7.
Well, Mayor and Council, it's good to be with you today and talk about a project that we've been doing for quite some time. We're pleased to be where we're at, because we're going to be providing quite a tool for our residents.
Sorry for the interruption, but I feel like I'm an acronym interpreter. So AMI stands for Automated Metering Infrastructure.
Yep. Basically, we can get the information of water use from all of our citizens from our offices. Just a quick review of the water division. Quinn Fenton, standing in the back by the door, he's our water division manager. He oversees 3 groups in the water division. The water division is part of the Public Works Department. In the water division, we have 3 areas. The first is the water distribution group. That's the pipes throughout the entire city that deliver water to all of the homes. We also have the water supply group. That group takes care of the water, makes sure that the water that's in the mountains or in the ground gets into the pipes that gets delivered to the homes. And then we have the water utility group, which is kind of the focus of today's presentation. They're the ones who maintain the meters and account for all of the water that's delivered to the homes. So in the water utility group, they gather and provide billable, accurate monthly reads. When they do that, they look for residents or businesses that might have unusual consumption and would reach out to and say, hey, we think that there might be a problem or a potential leak. Last year, they completed 3,549 work orders where they came in, different issues arose in the water system, and they would go out and work with businesses and with our residents to address any concerns that would come up. And then they also upgrade and replace all the meter parts necessary to be AMI compatible, and basically just maintain the meters throughout the entire city. So right now we have about 22,300 residential meters and 1,300 commercial water meters. Those range from 3/4 inch all the way up to 12-inch meter that supplies UBU. A vast majority of them are 3/4 inch meters to all of our residents. Now, Chris alluded to this, a little bit of history. Back in 2001, I was getting my graduate degree at BYU, and we had a project that we had to come up with a good idea for a project to do some analysis, and I thought let's look at a water conservation rate with my group within the water field, and thought, oh, this would be a fun thing to look at. And the public works director at the time was John Park. He invited me to go to an exec staff retreat where we talked about water conservation or water in general, and presented this water conservation rate. It was a little different than tiered rates, but it had the same idea that people would be charged different based on how much they would use. There wasn't anything that really came out of that. Well, at that time, we were reading meters in the spring after winter, and then in the late fall, right before winter. We did that so that we could get the winter use, and that's what we used to calculate how much sewer a resident uses. And then we base our bills on the winter use. We don't want to include irrigation water because that's not going into the sewer. So we read two times a year. At that meeting where we discussed this water conservation rate, it was decided, maybe we should see what we're using on a month-to-month basis and start charging residents each month instead. And so monthly meter reads in the non-winter months was decided back in 2001. This technology existed, but we didn't decide to jump in and go with AMI right away. In talking with Quinn, he said that back in 2006, there was a new technology where they could take a handheld device and hold it over a meter, and we did that for all of our commercial meters, made it really easy for us to go and get those reads. More discussion came about in 2016. We adopted the water master plan, and in that was the city council adopted a plan project to include this automated metering infrastructure throughout the city for all of the residents. And it got funded in 2017, and we started to install the project back in 2018 using our city staff to do that. It took a while, 23,000 residential meters and 1,300 commercial. It takes a while, but we recently finished the last one in December, and we're ready to roll the system out. So in funding, the project cost about 7.3 million total. We received a $1.5 million grant from the federal government, from the Bureau of Reclamation. And so the users will end up paying about 5.8 million. This was in that 2016 master plan. The city council wanted us to pay as we go. So we saved up money so that we could pay for this. This project is paid for. We didn't bond for it or anything like that. We paid with it from user fees. I'm going to invite Ty Penrod. Ty Penrod is our water utility group field supervisor, and he understands the day-to-day operations much better than I do. So Ty, if you want to come on up here and explain this AMI architecture, and then he's going to walk through, show you some pictures of what exactly was replaced with the meters, and what does this AMI technology look like.
So this is this schematic was provided by Itron. They are the creator of the endpoint, which, as you can see right here, the endpoint talks to the repeaters and collectors that we have in the city. There are 18 repeaters and 11 collectors. They then go and talk to our cloud, if you will, wide area network, and from there, that comes into our system, our CIS, our utility billing system. And we then have it for NAA, which is Itron software, and the new My Water portal.
So and then he'll show you the endpoint is on the meter itself. That's the antenna that sends a signal, which we collect with the repeaters and the collectors, and that comes to our to the computer system, to the cloud, and is available to us for billing and to the consumer to monitor their use.
Yeah, as you can see right here, we just have two simple pictures of some installs we've done. This left one is a 3/4 inch residential meter. Just showing you what we pulled out. You can see the readings. Under that lid is now a new electronic register. This is just a 1 inch, same design with the.
How long did a typical install take?
It's very much depends on the situation. Obviously, the cam and the setter, which is this piece connecting to the meter, a smooth situation where nothing fights you really, and it's easy, I guess you could say. You could do a 3/4 inch meter in 2 to 5 minutes. That's once you have the water off.
And can you turn off the water just for one house, or you have to turn it off to the larger group? No, just to that one house. Okay.
Yeah, so you can see both of these pictures. This guy right here is the meter valve.
That
So-
top green thing, so it turns off just like my sprinkler system. It turns off, it's that quarter turn. Yes.
Yeah. So generally, the whole process that we have, there's many more steps than just shut the water off and pull the meter out, but we would hope to be in and out total in 15 minutes at each house. Some of them, and
And
then
then
only
42,000, that's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And that's the fastest.
Yeah, I know,
That's very.
yes.
Yeah, behind projects.
With our older homes, with many older homes, it's a lot more difficult.
These are just a couple of pictures we have. As you can see, the top left picture, that is the endpoint that I mentioned earlier. We refer to it as an ERT. I'm sure many of you have heard that. It stands for Endpoint Radio Transmitter. That endpoint is plugged in, if you can see the cable plugged in right there, that goes directly into our register. And that register, the cable comes up next to the endpoint, and then if you look at this picture, there is what's called the install kit. And that holds and mounts that endpoint right up against that Oliver lid so that radio frequency can pass and communicate with our towers.
So this is the underside of the lid here. You can see the register right there and connected with a wire down to the meter itself.
Kind of a power sources, like this would be battery.
Battery. We'll have to replace batteries. It's 10 years, I think.
20 years.
20 years.
I mean, the meter's supposed to last that long.
Both the register and the endpoint batteries are rated for 20 years. We have 22,000+ in the field, and we've already had some fail with just a couple of years, but those are under warranty, and we should hopefully not have very many of them like that.
If I remember right, the warranty is good for 10 years and then it's prorated after 10 years out to.
Typically, you don't have warranties on batteries, so that's a good thing.
This is just a screenshot of our homegrown web page that we use to install each meter. Orem IT has been extremely helpful to our team, the whole water division with this. As you can see, the 3 fields at the top, we enter a register, endpoint, and meter serial barcode. We have a few boxes there that we can go through and document. And then this is all input into our utility billing system and there for us to see and have that data.
Once that's done, it's a matter of flipping a switch and then it goes live. And the entire city is live right now. Thanks, Ty. That's all I needed you for.
Thank you.
Well, unless you guys have questions that sometimes you toss us questions, they're like, I've got my guys here to help me out with that.
I just want to say I appreciate Ty and our whole team, because even with all the efficiencies we've been doing, you know, NGT's been recommending, I'm not sure I do anything that cool in 2 to 5 minutes.
Amen.
That's awesome.
So with this, again, this gives us as a city the tools that we need to more efficiently gather all of the water usage data throughout the city. We no longer have to walk around and lift the lid and look down there and type in a number. We're getting that electronically. It's also a tool for our residents. They will have access through our My Water portal. At mywater.orem.org, that's the launch page, which will take you to a vendor that we use called WaterSmart. This company specializes in making water use data understandable to communities throughout the country. So this portal will allow residents to monitor their water use. It's available 24/7 online. And of course, it avoids the human error that sometimes happens when we do those manual water receipts. It also that portal has some tools for customers or recommendations of things that you can do to conserve water. I'll have a couple of screen grabs, but there's probably 75 to 100 ideas that citizens could scroll through and look, oh, I'd like to learn more about that. So there are other tools there as well. It also gives leak detection. You can set it up to contact you and say, hey, I think that you've got a leak, or you've used a little more water than we think you probably wanted to use. You might want to look into it a little bit. In fact, Tom was showing off that he had logged in before, and as he was doing so, he told me he got in, things were working well, and the next day he contacted me and said, I got an alert that said I used 50 gallons.
Yeah, something like that. I don't care.
Yeah. I said, yeah, that's, your settings aren't set right. Let's raise those.
That's my daughter's shower right now.
Hey, dummy.
Did it come through that clear?
Yeah.
But anyway, he was able to raise that so that he won't be annoyed by the alerts, but that you can adjust those. And what he did was verify that the communication works. But again, we're in kind of a testing phase right now, and he was able to verify that for us.
Right, I think some of our early testers have detected it.
Yeah, I'll get to, I've got a great graph here shortly. You sitting back there, Carlo? Should also point out that the city's only using this to compile data to create bills. We're not tracking anybody or anything like that. It's just for the city's use. It's easy for us to get the billing data. And we're not using it to turn off services at this point. We could if we wanted to, and if we did, it would probably be just for those that we know don't pay their bills on time. Like, okay, it's just let's put this on this particular meter, or perhaps there are meters that we don't have easy access to. Let's put it it's behind a fence or something like that.
Now, when you say, because we did get citizens that were concerned about that, right? So it says it can't be used to turn off services.
Yeah, you have to have a different device than what we've put in there.
Okay, so what we're putting in right now, what's set up, we cannot use to turn off water services.
Correct.
Right?
There's nobody in the city has a device in it that would allow it to do that. If we chose to do that, we would have a reason to do so, to make it easier for us to do it. But yes.
You're talking about it. Yeah, but we cannot do that right now. In the event we ever did it, it would be to deal with people who aren't paying their bill or something. Right?
Yeah.
So
this is an example of a couple of tree watering advice. Did you know we need trees? We need trees, and trees need water. It gives you some ideas of how you can conserve water as you water your trees. Installing a high efficiency toilet. There are lots of different, probably commonsensical ways to conserve water, but that's one of the selling points or options that we have in that My Water portal. This is what the dashboard looks like. You can come here and view your bill, you can come here and you click on the view your use, and you'll see some graphs that show what your use has been. Everything downloads at 5 p.m. every day. So so in half an hour, you can get on and see what you did this morning. And then you can look at it for a day, for a week, for a month. You can choose what days you want to be able to see, be able to tell if when you what time of the day your kids showered, or when you were on vacation because no water was used. Lots of ways to use this.
So what is a waterless car wash?
Yeah, that's it looks like a spray bottle, but that's got water in it. And the steam pot. So I'm not gonna tell you, Mayor, I'm gonna have you log in and search that out yourself.
It's the dry shampoo.
Yes,
that's right. So you can detect your own leaks. This shows a month worth of data of a unnamed citizen of Orem.
They are named. What are you talking about?
So this is my household use here. So from January 1st to February 1st, and you can see that this was me as well. So 214 gallons per day is what we average in my. And it even tells you, maybe it's not, oh, here, down here, nice. I got a nice work, I'm at 214, average is 208, efficient's considered 142, so we got some work to do. But when you have several older teenagers and young adults living with you, they tend to do
Yeah, you figure out what a waterless car wash is.
So anyway, you can see the ups and downs that happen, probably laundry day or who knows what those peaks are. But it allows you to zoom in. We mentioned that you can use it to, can I move this peak? Oh, yep. So this, you recognize this name right here. This is Carlo Kolowitz. He's our IT division manager. He was part of the group that we approached, including the city council. We sent you all an invitation to log in and test this out for us. And Carlo, as an Orem resident, we asked, hey, would you do this? I sent it to him right about here in the middle of January, towards the end of January, and took him a couple days to actually log in, but he did, and he started to look at it and noticed an anomaly. And he scratched his head and said, what's going on here? I think I have a leak, because it's suggesting an increased amount of water that was being used. It started on January 1st and slowly got worse and worse and worse and worse. He logged in, figured it out, said, I've got to do something. And so he did, and you can see that this is the day that he fixed it, because there was not as much waste that day. And then back to a normal water use. So he had this, it could have detected that leak much earlier and let him know. So this is the type of tool that will be really beneficial to the residents in Orem when they get this set up and review that. So
is this something they can set up now, or is it something we're working our way up to?
Yes, it can be set up now. However, I'll get to our rollout, how we're planning to roll it out, but later, in a matter of a few months, we hope to have the entire city connected to this.
Carlo, can you share what the testimony?
Yeah, so I had a break right at the foundation, the main line, and the house broke, leaking 3 gallons a minute.
Well, you couldn't tell that was happening.
I picked up, no water on the surface, no water. We didn't find the water, we didn't have water till we were 3.5 feet down.
Wow.
And I dug different places in the yard where I suspected it could be first, and it was dry, so it wasn't until we decided we got to chase the entire line. So we started at the house and went backwards at that point. Dry to the house.
So this won't tell you where it's at, but it'll tell you to start looking. Okay, so you can track your weekly water usage. Again, this is my house. You can see we shower in the morning and then a little bit at night. Shower in the morning. This was, don't know what was happening here, but you can see the peaks and valleys that occur. This is the hourly water usage on Wednesday, January 31st. It's like somebody got up in the middle of the night. Bathroom, our day starts around 6 a.m. Pretty normal use all through the day. So moving forward, Mayor, this gets to the question that you just asked. So all of you received a welcome letter with instructions on how to create an account. You basically just need your account number and your zip code, and then it will walk you through creating an account using your email address and creating a password. Once you have that email address and password registered, then when you log in through mywater.orem.org, you'll be able to see this. Anybody that knows their account number and their zip code could get in today and do that. However, we don't want that widely broadcast just because there's still a few bugs that we've identified through this process that we're cleaning up and hope to have cleaned up in the next couple of weeks. So at the beginning of March, we plan on reaching out to 1,000 residences in Quad 1. Quad 1 is that northwest?
Yeah.
so in northwest Orem. And we'll send the letter out, that copy of which you all received. Will look very similar to that with the instructions on how to log in. And that's when we'll see how many calls we get in 311. The following week, we plan to do quad 2 with 1,000. So the first month, we plan to do 1,000 in each quad. There's about roughly 4,000 in each quad. So if we roll it out slowly, we would be done in 4 months. But if it's successful and we don't inundate our 311 customer service center, we could ramp it up to get it out sooner. We want to get it out for the irrigation season for summer, because that's when most of the water can be disturbed and people are most keenly aware or want to be keenly aware of what they're using. And they have this tool available to them now. So that's all I've got. It's pretty exciting. I appreciate the feedback that we've received. Mrs. Gale sent some great feedback on just making it a little clearer of what you need to do. A simple change that we can make to the letter so that when the residents get it, it's clear that, okay, this is what I need to do. There were dashes that we had in our account numbers. Now you can include the dashes or not include the dashes. So before it didn't work at first, but then I took the dashes out and now it works. Well, let's make it so that either works, and that's a functionality that's been implemented as well. So we're doing what we can to make it as easy as possible. We're also looking into another comment that was made was, I'm on automatic billing, but it says pay my bill here. Is this going to affect my automatic billing? And so we need to make sure that the message is clear that if you're on automatic billing, things aren't going to change at all. Don't worry about it. So we're trying to make that clearer. So we've had some great feedback. We anticipate and feel that we've prepared well to have a good, clean rollout. It's just that time. We're ready to pull the trigger, and we're optimistic that things will go well. Happy to field any questions that you might have.
Would it help if we made some training videos, like logging in, showing people that's kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm sure we could, but it's a timing thing. We don't want to send it out to the entire city if we're rolling it out. So we could work with you to figure out strategically how to do that.
Yeah, just kind of a resource that people will need to do step by step.
Yep. Okay, it's pretty easy. That's a great idea.
Well, are you gonna put it on social media too? I think it'd be fun to say, do you know you can detect water leaks at your house now? I think that'd be fun.
I think when the time's right, we'll do it. We'll probably do it after everything was rolled out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. So that'll probably be something to keep pushing over the course of the year to get everybody on board.
So Brent, are we still sending out the service warranty, for people to sign up for their water and?
I believe so, yes.
Because that's huge. I mean, because it costs you $100 a year and it save you thousands of dollars if you have a break at your house or whatever, so.
That's a good point. Timing wise, we can target a kind of a re-education of the leaks sort of between the house and the main line.
Right.
Or the meter stream.
Most of the leaks I think that we're going to realize are not gonna be on the toilets. However, what you're suggesting, I think, is something that we need to do. We will reach out and make sure that the community is aware of service line warranties in America. I think it's been very helpful. It's about $6 a month for water, $6 for sewer, and it covers you from the meter to the home to the foundation for water, and for sewer, it covers you from your connection to the sewer main in the street, which is typically in the street, to your foundation, not inside your home, but there otherwise. They do offer warranties inside of your home as well for water and sewer. And you may have been receiving notices recently from, was it Dominion? On your gas.
Right.
It's the same company that's offering that same similar warranty for that utility. So your gas line from the meter, which was usually at maybe just outside the foundation of your home, to the inside of your home, that's yours to maintain. You own it, and it's your responsibility. So it's a good education process. I think we should, press forward and do that. Getting back to the
the toilet leak though. I think we're gonna realize people are really using this, that I'd say maybe 20% of the community has leaks to some degree. It might be higher than that. Cause toilet flapper, just the flapper gasket that you have in your toilet, that can go bad in just a short amount of time, depending on use. You get it could be degraded or whatever. It could be just a constant leak. It's not setting or sealing properly. And to most people, you can't even hear it, but there might be a small leak and it adds up really quickly. Reed, I think, did you have one?
Yeah, I've had several where it just gets set.
It doesn't seat properly sometimes.
I've trained my kids to listen, like, hey, you know what, that's been running for a while. I should say something to dad.
But that kind of an issue in the wintertime, for example, when your bill should have been 8,000 or 7,000 gallons, maybe you were up around 10 or 11 or 12,000. Well, not only on your toilet, so that not only will affect your water bill for the 4 or 5 months in the winter, but that will also be used to calculate your sewer for the next 12 months. So it's a double hit to the consumer. This is gonna, I think, be widely accepted and appreciated, I think, by the community at large. If they use it properly and have it set up.
Yeah, this was a significant effort. Our team, introduced you to Quinn. Tyler Pay, sitting in the back, he used to be over the AMI. He got it started back in 2018. Neil Winterton, who was my predecessor in this position, he got it started, and then I brought it to the finish line with our team. It was a significant effort that involved the entire water section, not just the water utility group. We needed to get our distribution guys to help us to do it, our water supply guys to come and participate as well. If it hadn't been for them, this would continue to drag because it was such a significant effort. But we have a great group, a great crew that worked hard, and we're finally where we want to be.
Mayor and Council, if I could just emphasize, and I know you already have started to do this, but yeah, as we are rolling this out, and as you hear complaints or concerns or ideas, and we can educate, and use this new resource, please let us know, and we'll continue to make the service better and make the user interface better.
Just if I could add to the My Water user interface, it's not just for water, it's for everything on the city bill. So people will be able to see their city bill at their fingertips anytime they want. So this is going to be a resource that we're going to tap into to be able to share all of your information for your bill.
I see that it's available in Spanish too already. Or will be. I clicked on the Spanish link and it's like everything's in Spanish.
It's also in Spanish. Thank you. Okay, well, you've been a great crowd as usual.
Any other questions?
Just great work on this. Thanks for
Thanks,
being here.
Reed. Thanks for your team. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item number 4. We've got Youth Fire Smart and Youth Fire Education Programs. Brandon Byers.
Thank you,
And Scott Barrel.
Yeah, the A team's just coming in. Come on up. A team. Yes, yeah.
I like your air fresheners in here, it smells really good.
Chinese food air freshener. Chinese air freshener.
All right, guys, the mayor's throwing the time over to you, so go ahead with your presentation.
Is that okay, Teresa? Sorry.
Thanks, Pete, you're sprung. Hooks up, so I need to put it in the HDMI on? Yeah, hold it there.
takes our kids a long time to start fires. And so it's just a presentation.
I wanna know what kids that is, but it takes a long time to start fires.
It's harder than you think.
Okay, well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you having us here. Oh, yes. You wanna just go first, Guster? Let's do that. Thank you.
Two different programs this guy's gonna present.
So I don't know if you introduced us at all, Chief, or not. Did you? Okay. Well, Scott Beard, I've been with the city, 17 years. New to fire prevention the last 6 months or so, so this is a new position for me. Chief asked me to do a quick overview on a new program that we started. Both our programs kind of go hand in hand and dovetail really well together, but this is a program that treats kids that have complex obsession with fire.
There's 75 on the current fire department, just so y'all.
Well, and so we all have that innate interest in fire, and kids do too. This is kind of the next layer to that. Kids that might have developmental issues or trauma at home, and they kind of act out through starting fires. So when I first heard this program, youth fire setting, you're probably thinking, are we teaching kids to start fires? That's not the case. We're not teaching kids to start fires. So according to FEMA, youth fire setting is a complex pattern of behavior in which a child or adolescent starts fires, either accidentally or intentionally. Factors in classifying fire setting include intentionality, damage caused, frequency, and interest versus actually starting fires. Youth that develop an unsafe relationship with fire. All right. Okay. Still see that.
We'll take it to that, we're all recording.
So really 3 types of this. Those under age 7 years old who start fires accidentally from curiosity, like a lot of us have done, right? Children 8 to 12, those who may start fires due to psychosocial conflicts, behavioral issues, and then ages 13 to 18 are kind of the age group where it gets more into criminal arson. And a lot of that peaks on the childhood history of fire setting. So that's kind of a later stage. It does progress. This is the program's flyer that we sent out to all school administrators through Orem, Linden, and Vineyard. Just kind of talks a little about what fire setting is and what to do if they come across a student that might have this type of behavior, or a concerned parent that comes into the school and wants help for their child. So it's contact information. A lot of it. So every school should have this at their disposal to refer back to. Like I said, a big part of this, main objective of this is early fire education. I want to get in the kids' heads, giving them parameters on when it's safe to use fire, and to experience fire with proper supervision. Intervention for children and teens that need further help. This is what this program is for. So our youth fire setting program will be implemented when it is more severe. Proper intervention can be accomplished by identifying the motivation for fire play and then redirecting the child's creativity and energies into a more healthy form. This is what it looks like. So if we have a child or teen that's having an issue with this, we have a 5-step program. So step 1 is an interview with the guardian and child to obtain a case history for a better understanding of the problem. Step 2, identify the motivation for fire setting behavior. If it's just curiosity, if they are trying to harm themselves or others. Step 3, educate the child on the dangers of fire and fire play. What the difference is there. Send the child home. So we have an interactive workbook. And that's something they take home with the family. They complete as a family with, fire rescue plans, how to safely store fire materials and ignition sources, stuff like that. And step 5, we do a 2-week follow-up. So they bring this workbook back. We go through it with them and we give them a certificate, a reward for completing this program. And oftentimes we'll have them come to the firehouse and give them a tour of the firehouse, that type of thing. There's always got to be some sort of reward there. And some of these kids need more help than we can provide. So we have obviously a scope of practice as firemen, and we do have other resources available through school resource officers, counselors, victim advocates, local counseling professionals, and we have a good working relationship with our PD. And our point man for that is Detective Rolenberg. He's worked closely with us for this program. So it's something that we've had in place, but we're just trying to rejuvenate and kind of make this a bigger program. And we saw some areas where we could improve, and so we're initiating that process now. So any questions or?
So have you received any feedback on effectiveness or, positive outcomes?
So this is a brand new program.
Okay.
And this isn't something we use every day or even every week, right? It's just when this type of scenario arises. So we haven't had any successful graduates yet or need for it yet. So we did a couple months ago, had a child who lit a fire in a trailer home. Parents weren't home. He was experimenting with a lighter and burnt the whole trailer down. So there is a big need for it. And we just haven't had a real clear direction as far as up to this point. It's just been fire safety education, that's it. We're now we have a process to follow as those happen, so.
Would you have any kind of idea how many kids we're talking that might be able to benefit from this?
Last year or so, you guys having, I'm thinking 5 to 10 might fall in this category each year. In the past, we get called out to maybe a brush fire from fireworks, and it was just, hey, don't do that anymore, And so we're trying to capture those kids to get them in this program. And I imagine us seeing more now that we're more heads up with it, so.
Scott, do you mind if I check in?
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of the things, this program isn't just new for Orem, for the cities that we serve. Provo also just started this program. Lehigh is kind of a little bit further along, but it's still a relatively new program. But one of the best things about it is it started the communication between agencies. So if there's a trend that's going on in one city, we now have an investigation in our city where we can go and we can talk about this with all of the surrounding agencies, and they can go, you know what, we did have one that was really similar to that. Let's get together and see if what you had matches what we had, and then maybe we can tie it in and get help for these kids early on, like you say.
Most importantly, I want everybody to recognize is that without the leadership and direction from the mayor and the council and administration in wanting Orem to have the very best fire department, by supporting an increase support to our fire prevention, which for 20 years has always just been a necessity. It's never been a real strong focus. With the different change in leadership and the ability to increase staffing, it's allowed us to bring these type of programs into play where previously the administrations and budgets just didn't support prevention, where with our new administration's focus on if we can prevent the event, then that's really what's saving the tax dollars and the community, the property damage, and then who knows where these kids end up.
There is a trend. If we don't catch it early, it turns into criminal arson and they're in prison. And so this is a big indicator of future issues with the law down the road. So if we can get it early with his program, fire education, getting the kids to have buy-in with community safety, that's the main focus of this, but we do have a second tier. So when those kids do fall through, we need extra help.
And again, fire departments that don't have a focus in fire prevention, they can never say they're the best fire department. So this is a huge push over the last 18 months plus.
And it'll be evolving as we do get more experience with these kids coming through. It'll be a more streamlined process, but it's this is the infancy of this program. And we feel good about it, so.
Maybe the prevention aspect is the most important, critical part of why we're doing this, but we've also heard Chief Sanderson promise over and over that we were gonna be proactively just getting out into the public and interfacing with our residents with more programs, more education, more events, and so this is to some extent a return and report on some specific actions we're taking in that regard as well.
And along that same line, I'm just gonna challenge Brandon to bring cases forward where we do intervene, so that on a quarterly basis, if we have something, you can have a regular update, or at least some information to show that it's actually helping our communities.
Do kids need to show some kind of pyro tendencies to go through the class, or could it just be like scout groups and youth groups and?
That's kind of more his program.
Oh.
That initial fire safety program is what he's gonna be talking about. What I discussed was that second phase, that if there is an issue that needs more focus, more treatment.
Okay.
But yeah, Brandon, go ahead.
Everybody knows that. Scott's done a really good job with that. He's put a lot of time and effort into that. We'll get this one up here. And just to echo the.
Looks like it. Oh, right there. Yeah, there you go. Pull that cord.
Oh, this way?
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Just to echo Chief's comments, we really appreciate all the support we've been given. It's definitely received and appreciated and recognized. And by doing that, I think it affects the whole community. So, thank you guys. Okay. So this title of this program isn't trademarked, so don't look too deep into this. Working on it. So talking about education of the public, right? As firefighters, there's a lot of us, and we've all seen a lot of hard things, from the very new firefighter to the more senior firefighters. Maybe Scott is pretty senior. Seen a lot of hard things. We've been there for a lot of people's difficult circumstances, loss of family members, loss of a home. And if we could all go back and do something to help prevent that, even for just one person, I think would make it worthwhile. And that's what we're doing. This is where we do it. We do it where they're young and impressionable, and we fill their minds with fire safety facts, okay? They can, from an early age, right? Those things can be ingrained in. And they're more likely to adopt and maintain those safe practices through their lives. So who remembers from their childhood perhaps meeting a firefighter, paramedic, EMS? Raise your hands, anybody? Yeah, they're still there. You can. You still have those memories in there, and I assume they're positive. Maybe they weren't. Maybe you needed help when you were younger. But everybody remembers a time when they met a firefighter, whether at the fire station or they came to their school. I remember in preschool going to a fire station. That's literally the only memory I had, but it was a positive memory, and they were nice, and they cared about us. And that's the basic concept we want to get across, to get them to understand that we're there for them, to help them, right? And that's the age you do. I swear, past third grade, they know everything. And before that, they don't quite remember, right? Okay, so with little acts, you can have a big impact on a whole community. When you teach them these fire safety principles, those kids will go out. They're all more responsible than we give them credit for. They're gonna go out and they're gonna talk to their friends, right? They're gonna talk to their family members. They're gonna say, we need to do this. We shouldn't do that. You can't tell me your kids haven't told you what to do and how to do it, right? Even from a young age. And that's gonna help the whole community just through the youth, okay? Now, I guess this is kind of a job security killer for us too, by reducing incidents. But honestly, I think, like I said in the beginning, I think we can all deal with less tragedy in this life. I think that would be super worthwhile. And then they can go on throughout their lives and have a great understanding of the importance of fire safety and how to be safe around not only fires, but just in life in general, right? Wearing seatbelts, things like that. And then they're more likely to be advocates of ours in the community and throughout their whole lives. So the plan is to start with one class a week, first graders, and to ramp up as staffing and scheduling permits from there. And to teach about the dangers of fire, have them gain comfort with firefighters, go over principles, super simple principles: smoke rises, stay low in smoke, crawl on the ground, work on an escape plan. And then in the future, we want to work into kind of larger audiences, not just a single class format, but maybe an assembly, maybe have some props. Perhaps they can practice escaping from a window, something that their parents will probably never let them do, right? So I think that'd be really worthwhile to maybe work into that. So any questions, comments, suggestions, concerns?
I totally remember being a kid and them going to school and then sending home some paperwork that said, okay, what's your fire escape plan? And I went home and said, Mom, we gotta do this. And we did it. And now as an adult, I just don't think of those things. But if my kid comes to me and says, hey, we gotta do this, I'm more likely to say, oh, let's do this. I think it's awesome. The whole family involved.
Yeah, no, that's great. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, we all have those memories, right? That's what we hope for.
As large as our fire department is and the focus we have, these are things that we need to be doing. We need to be in the public's eye and solving the issue before it happens. Because they're still going to happen. But if we can prevent one or two a year, you're talking millions of dollars worth of property damage or a single life that we could influence. And these two programs just lead into an additional program that we're currently working on that Carrie challenged us with. It's a high school explorers program that's we'll be presenting to you over the next couple of months. But it's just early recruitment is really what it is. And if we can entertain the grade school, high school kids within our own communities, then we can employ the people that live in our community, and hopefully they'll stay. I mean, it's awesome to work in the community you serve. Unfortunately, without these kind of programs, we just don't have that same influence. And so with your guys' continued support, which we appreciate, I think we're gonna make a difference over the next 10, 15, 25 years. So it's exciting for all of us.
So how are you rolling it out? I mean, what are you picking? You pick a certain school or?
So I've already reached out to all the local elementary schools and I believe charter schools as well. And just sent messages to the administrators to let their teachers know that it's available. We've already done one class and we've got others coming up. This isn't something super new, but we've been super, I guess, busy rolling out other programs and we're trying to get back at it and do a better job. And we realize the importance of it, you know, so this is just phase one. Like Scott said, his is kind of a phase two. Our objective in the beginning is to kind of net every child and to have an influence on them, and his is more specific as we get into that. And then networking throughout all those schools, they're all aware of both programs. And
to the point we don't know the children we impact until we actually interface, teach these classes and explore and get into their own heads in the environment. We don't know how many kids actually need the help, as Scott outlined. I mean, this may be completely various as far as a workload, but that's something that we'll just continue to address and make a priority and bring it to your attention so you can understand the true need within our community.
Got some turnouts here. Somebody wants to chime on?
Well, before COVID, we'd have a lot of groups come to the station for tours. And that was kind of how we did a lot of our PRs. But this is more of a progressive, actually going out and searching and scheduling these appointments and going to the schools instead of being more reactive. We've got a plan. We're targeting certain schools and
how these develop into community programs, especially with the new city hall. If you think of the second floor with our EOC and the size of classroom that is, there's no reason why these programs can't develop into some form of a regular class on a regular schedule that bring the community into our facility, show off our new facility, but then provide them with the necessary education so that they know that we're resourced when they need help.
Is that like with the Citizen Space Academy, you can do the fire?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really crazy when you look at how busy our guys are, the call volumes that run, service we deliver. There's just honestly never been a focus in fire prevention. They've always had one or two positions that we've met the basic requirements to do annual inspections, keep our business owners happy. We've never been able to do anything like this because you try to tax the guys that are working on the floor. As soon as they schedule a class, they got an emergency, and that whole class blows up. And so with dedicated personnel that can provide these, with support from the guys that are on duty every day, it's making for a program or programs that are winnable, and it'll just make us that much better. Total wins across all three cities.
And so along with all those programs, like your CERT and like police, and so all those things are powerful, like Keith's doing right now on the CERT. They're just citizen awareness and pulling in the community to be aware, really helping each other in all these needs. So that's.
We'll have the facility that will house it. It's really on us to organize it and then schedule it out and make it available.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
So what is it you have, like 4 of you go to elementary school? What's it look like?
Well, kind of depending on the event, if it's a larger assembly, I assume we'd have at least 2, you gotta herd cats, right? And it takes a few people to do that. The smaller class, 10, 15 kids, I think it's just fine for one person to go in. Typically, there's 1 to 2 teachers as well to kind of assist, but I typically go on my own if I were to do it. Yeah.
And you got these cute little things for them to
Yeah,
try
they
on.
like that. They get to try it on, they get to feel like
that.
big kids.
You have a hat?
Bags that you pass out.
Right, they have some papers, right, for escape plans to take home for them to fill out.
And one of the most important things too is if it's scheduled out in advance, I mean, everybody wants to see the guys in a fire truck. They love these guys, but they drive a pickup truck. That's not nearly as cool as the fire engine we drive.
Super not exciting.
And so when they can show up with a fire engine, given the call volume, it just bolsters these programs.
That was my next question is, you'll take the engine if it's available.
Absolutely.
The neat thing is that most of us are engine qualified. We can drive the engine, so if there's.
We have backup apparatus, and so
We can take it.
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Show that way.
So it won't get on call.
Yep.
Thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, appreciate it.
Appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you so much.
I'd just like to second, like, these guys are awesome. When I came in April of last year, this was my ultimate goal, to take care of the nuts and bolts of getting the annual inspections and the businesses taken care of, but eventually getting to where it's the community service aspect of it, to where we're getting in touch with children and families and hopefully just saving one. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
So nobody wanted to try these on this?
Tom, don't try it on.
Break it for sure.
I'm excited about it too, but I'm with Chief PJ Robinson. I met Officer Friendly first.
Hey, this isn't police, this isn't police time.
You just asked, I answered.
That was a good answer. Should have asked. I learned how to play ping pong at the fire station, so. When I was a kid. All right, we appreciate that. I think we're just gonna run through this because, and then we can read after that. We've got, we're gonna review the agenda. Dave Spencer, do you wanna make a report on some of your committees?
Yeah, I mean, since we've had met for 1 month, I can't go over what I, report to you, I guess.
Maybe just tell us the commissions that you work on and.
So I'm on the planning commission. We've had 2 meetings and it's planning commission, so it's interesting. Recreation Advisory Commission, I've never been on that one before. We went over the 10-year plan budget for care because it just passed last year. So we're working on that, and Bryce has got some great ideas, so definitely would be money well spent using the money for all the projects we have in Orem. Senior Citizens Advisory Commission, Gina's doing an excellent job. And they do a lot, they cook meals every day over there, and serve the seniors, and anybody can eat there for $5 at lunch, so it's a very good meal, so.
The fire administration just announced their bingo games today, this afternoon.
Nice.
And so was Chief Williams and over there having a fun time during the lunch hour.
That's it, they're good, so, and then Public Safety Advisory, that's, I think we're revamping that and start over.
But one of the benefits, I mean, Councilman Spencer just whispered in my ear is there a way to, we've always been trying, with the development of this commission, we tried to work with Josh, trying to figure out, okay, how can they really impact public safety in our community? Well, maybe some of these type of events, along with some of the programs that the PD has, we can involve this commission in helping get our message out and how we're trying to touch the community. This may be the avenue that lights the fire under this committee that really hasn't gone anywhere.
And then I'm on the Care Commission with Jeff Lamson, and that we'll meet April 25th and May 7th. Do the recommendations for the mini and the medium grants. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to make a motion?
So Tom asked why we didn't, no.
That's why you haven't got on.
I tried to make a motion. Nobody seconded me, I mean.
I know, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
All right, we'll go through the agenda.
Try that again this week.
We'll see. I'll make a motion. In there.
All right, so item 3, I'll order item 4, invitation, and pledge. Jared and Liz Churchill are friends of mine. We asked to give a permanent pledge, so I'll introduce them. We've got item 6.1, highlights of the fire award banquet.
That's been well publicized too, I guess. Peter, I guess you're doing that with, on social media. It's been nice to see those posts. Thank you.
No, thank you.
And Chief, will I just invite you up and you'll take that?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take a couple minutes and show a quick video that I think we've submitted, may have already seen it on our social media, and then just talk through our event program and the benefits of it.
Okay, sounds good. And then presentation 6.2, employees love Orem. Pete, you're gonna take care of that?
That's right.
And we'll have our personal appearances. And we'll go into our consent items. There's approval of meeting minutes. There's an appointment to the Informed Advisory Trust Commission, an appointment to the Cultural Arts Commission or Council, an appointment to the CDBG Advisory Commission, and several appointments to Orem Neighborhood Advisory Commission. And then item 9, we've got a conditional use permit. Jason will present it to us. Is there anything you can know about that, Jason?
No, other than it's 15,000 square feet for personal use. So, you know, part of the neighborhood that wondered was gonna be rented out to businesses with things in this movement, so.
Okay, so you'll present that to us?
Yes.
And then item 9.2 is a public hearing on the rezone for amending the sign zone for Maverick located at 1129 South Newber Road. Any know in advance on that?
I was just matching what was currently across the street at Showdown, so it's really just being fair that they got.
Okay. And then item 9.3, a map amendment, amending the Lakeview area street connection master plan to eliminate the street connections between 1430 South and 400 West.
Mayor, you had asked for us to reply on whether we needed a public hearing, and I gave my information to Steve, and I guess others did. So this is not a public hearing, is that correct? You had that last week or 2
Right,
weeks ago?
is that what you came back with, Steve?
Well, we never really got a consensus on that, so it's not a required public hearing, you don't have to take public comments, so it's really entirely up to you whether you want to take additional comments or not. You're not required to.
I've had a fair few public comments, and my guess is most of us have, and have been to the property. I've heard that most all of you have been to the property, so I don't feel a big need for that.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm ready to second it.
Aye.
I guess my thoughts are, there were people who didn't come last time because the mailer said it wasn't a public
Right.
hearing. So to be fair, I would almost say if you spoke last time, we don't want, we heard you. But if you didn't come and you're coming now and you came today, maybe we should give them an opportunity.
So can we have a partial public hearing? Yeah.
If you wanted to, I think you could do that. I think that's a reasonable limitation.
Do we want
So
to,
if you were here last time, that was your
But
opportunity.
in the
If you
neighborhood
did
meeting, they said, oh, it's not a public hearing. I stood up and said, yes, it is a public hearing. Everybody can speak. And then those people that were very vocal there did not come, but so I did tell them that it wasn't a public meeting, so a public hearing. So.
Jesse?
I think if you open it up, you're going to have people that will object that the developer spoke last and they would have said something different. So even though they spoke last time, they have something new to say. And so if you open it up, I think you open up, everybody will want to speak. And I think that if you've had the public hearing, you've satisfied the code. But I think a limited public hearing, I think people are going to say, well, wait a minute, I didn't really get to say all I wanted to say because the developer spoke last.
Well, but that's a misunderstanding. The developer always gets to speak last. They're at the table. They can speak whenever they want, right?
No.
There's no,
Well, I mean,
if we ask them questions after we close the public
it
hearing.
it happens often that way because, yeah, oftentimes the developer, the council or the mayor might ask the developer to respond to the neighborhood points that were brought up, so that does happen.
So unfortunately, that appeared to be a different thing because we didn't invite him up to the table at the very beginning, but honestly, that happens. It wasn't anything that was unusual, correct?
Wasn't anything nefarious or anything like that, and
Yeah.
didn't violate any required procedure or anything like that.
It's, and I mean, I feel bad, I understand where they're coming from, I've been in the audience and I've been irritated by things that the developer has said after I've not allowed to speak anymore.
They give them
Later.
So.
That's my opinion, you can choose what you want.
I said the email, I said, I'm fine.
I had people ask me and I said it's up to the mayor, so there you go.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I think, didn't we discuss it for like, Tom wasn't here.
A long time.
It was a long time, so I mean,
Thank you for your opinion.
everybody knows where I'm at. And I sent an email to Steve and I did respond, so I said.
As did I.
Yeah, I just said, hey, I think we've heard enough and I think we need to move on because it's a.
Okay,
They've
so.
had opportunity in the interim to reach out to us multiple.
Oh,
And
yeah,
flashes
another
and
20, 30 emails today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've gotten a lot of emails. We had a major conversation last time.
And just
Plus,
for
we
your
had other meetings as well.
Yeah. So it sounds
With
like
staff.
this is more like saying we covered this. Is that what I'm getting from the group?
I think so.
So I would think so. I'm sensitive to Lene's.
I have my opinion,
feeling
but I'm
about
welcome,
that,
I'm
but
fine
other
with being
than
in the
that, I'm
minority.
fine.
Yeah. No, I lean towards letting the citizens go as much as they wanna go. I mean, to a point, but making sure that they're heard. But I do feel like they were heard last week and I feel like 2 weeks ago, when it was. So I'm fine with whatever the council, the group prefers and just, so you.
I prefer not to have you.
I prefer not to.
You prefer not, what does everybody else prefer?
Say people who were not here last week, even if you were here, you didn't take your opportunity. So it's just people who knew people this week.
Okay? And everybody else?
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm good to go.
I didn't hear you, Jeff.
I'm good to go. I think I've heard a lot from both sides of.
Jen?
I also feel like I've heard a lot and tried to thoroughly research both sides of it though.
Same, and I'm driven and talked to many private citizens through my drive, so I think I know what I need to know.
I've got inundated with emails, so. Okay, so I think that would be a close continuation of last time.
maybe express that we've received lots of information even today, and we've carefully pondered all of it. Right, from all sides, right? Okay, so we'll be back and then, so I didn't get stuck with it, thank you. Be back. And then, yeah, item 10, monthly financial summary, we don't really do anything on that. 16, under information item, item 11, and then we'll adjourn.
I'm ready to make a motion on number 12. Try to beat that down.
Okay, so we have, just a couple quick announcements. It was Jen's birthday on, February 8th.
Yes.
And so we have some special treats with the food. And we wish you a happy birthday with that. Well done. Nice work.
Very happy about it.
And then, just real quickly, Greg Dearden asked if he could, introduce something that he's going to do this next week.
On Thursday, day after tomorrow, I'm doing a one-man show at Library Hall as Ben Franklin. So for the last 6 years, I've been Ben Franklin at the Sierra for the 4th of July. That I'll be doing forgotten founders stories, like a teenage girl that helped save General Lafayette's command just before Yorktown. That Andrew Jackson was alive during the Revolution and was a 12-year-old boy that worked with the militia. Little things like that that we don't tell each other or they don't teach in school anymore. But Thursday night, 7 p.m. And the important thing is, it's free.
Thank you, Greg. All right, can we have a blessing on the food and then we'll
Did you want to have a motion to adjourn first, Mayor?
Yes.
Did you already do that?
Do we adjourn this meeting?
Well, I think you're at the end of the agenda. Did you want to adjourn then eat? That way we can stop the recording if you want.
Yeah, let's do that. And we'll adjourn and then we'll have a
Do
volunteer.
we do a motion to adjourn for the work meeting? I don't remember ever doing that before.
You've done it once or twice if the meeting ends.
Okay,
or-
I'm happy to make a motion to adjourn so we can eat.
I didn't do that.
Second. Okay, good.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned. And do we have a volunteer for the clerk?
I'll do it.
Okay, Renee.
Our beloved Father in heaven, we're grateful for this opportunity we have to gather here today and to conduct the business of the city and to hear from the great presenters that we've heard from today and the efforts that are being made for the residents in this area. We pray, Father, that we can continue in that path and have thy blessing to be upon us. We also pray at this time, Father, for a blessing upon this food that may nourish and strengthen our bodies and help us to use that strength
Test.
Go.